How's it going, Blazers? This is David of Blade Banter, working to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. Have a new spec that I'm going to get your opinion on. If you like it, if you think I should have it in my future reviews, great. For really a lot of the things that I'm going to cover are specs and then opinions afterwards. So if you want to get the opinions, you can jump to the end. But otherwise, I'm going to go run through some things that might be unique to the channel, might not, but let me know as far as what you think. This is from Tuyaknife, so there's a new one from them. So thank you to them for providing it to the channel as well, and also the Apex Pass-Around group. So this one's designed by a Michal Galovic. That's probably wrong, but that is what I tried. So this is called the Big Belly. So that's the one here. So that's what it's going to sit like in your pocket. Titanium, right hand carry only for it. Also, if you do want to get anything from Tuyaknifeus.com, they do have a 10% off discount code. Get no kickback from that at all. It just like you saw it from one of the people that they sent a knife to. You went and bought a knife. Use Apex, capital APEX, and then you can actually get 10% off anything over $200 as you can get from them for that website. So that's what it looks like here for the knife. It does come in with a nice case too, so that's something that's unique to them. Well, fairly unique to them as far as this waterproof case. You've seen this on some other knife companies' cases, but it's a pretty nice case, reusable if you want to use it for something else, but it holds up well. Probably ships pretty well. Hard case, waterproof, hopefully. I mean, it has a seal and everything, so I haven't tested that, but it seems like it's waterproof for the case. So the one thing then that I was going to add to as far as a new specification is going to be the tip cut angle. So if you actually think that that's useful or not. So that's basically from taking the knife from this angle here, so it'll be from the flat, and then rocking it up to where it actually is going to be using the tip cut. That's where, I think it's useful information, because I mean, if you're doing a lot of box cuts or anything like that, that's where a lot of Warren cliffs, some of the blades that have a tip much lower is a lot easier for that, because you have a lot less lift. So this one you have to lift it up fairly far to make that tip cut, and then there's going to be about 30 degrees for that angle, and then something with a Warncliffe style blade is going to have probably near nothing, maybe 5 degrees, or maybe you're right there already. So if that's useful, let me know in the comments below. But also, they're going to roll into some other things here. So for the alignment pull gauge, this is what I use to get some of the other measurements. So for this one, as far as a pull, so to actually deploy the knife is going to be about 1 pound 14 ounces. And that's basically a pull until it breaks and opens up. So that's going to be how much force you need to provide to that thumb stud, which is in the range, because usually about 2 pounds or less is really good for a thumb stud deployment, at least in my opinion for that. And then flipper tabs are going to be about 3, but you have no flipper tabs, so not information you really need for this one. So you're going to have just basically the thumb stud deployment. It does not have the clearance needed, at least for me, to get in there to actually do a middle finger flick. And then probably I'll do it on camera now, but not really. Yeah, okay, so that doesn't really work very well for that reason. It just doesn't have somewhere where you can really hook under there and do that. And granted, there's going to be people that can do it, and it's like, well, I can do mine all the time, and I don't have any issue with it. Well, I cannot. So I've tried. It hurts sometimes, and I just can't do it. But that's the deployment you have for that. You do have kind of a traditional style if you want to open it in 2 hands, of course. You can do the pinch and roll, open, and to do it that way. And I don't think it has inertia, but no, yeah, you can do it. But inertia, all that is you're overcoming that 1 pound 14 ounces. So it's not really, it's inertia. So it's not a centrifugal force where some border patrol folks look at, some officers look at. It's inertia, but that's what it is. So it can open that way if you really force it, but it's nothing horrible. This one comes in about 3.5 ounces for the knife. So that's going to be running, so for this channel, another thing that might be different. So that one comes in for this, so that's going to be 17 quarters and 1 penny. So if you have that laying around, if you know what your knife is normally, so if you have like a bug out 1.9 ounces, add some quarters and pennies to that. There's 0.2 ounces for a quarter, 0.1 ounces for a penny, so you can actually do that. Get it in hand so you know what it feels like when you're carrying it around, because it makes a little bit more difference than, well, it weighs this much. And it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Some people are really to that ounce per inch. I'm not really, and if you have like an iPhone 13, which I do not, but that one is like 6.14 ounces. So if you have an iPhone 13 and you're complaining about a knife that's 3.5 ounces, I mean, it's not that bad. So this is price point $279 for this current price. MSRP is about $299, so you can get the 10% off. I think it's still off of that $279, so you'll get 10% off from that if you go into the website and picking it up that way. And then for this one, for the cutting edge, that's one thing also nice about this being a big belly. This one actually has a cutting length that's bigger than the actual blade length, so 3.2 for the actual blade length, and then it's going to be a 3.33 for the cutting edge because it has that belly that sweeps up. So there's a flat grind for this one, and then it does have for the primary grind, which is going to be the larger of the two. So this primary grind here is going to be about 3 degrees per side, 6 degrees inclusive, which is pretty good as far as any type of cutting methods for going through thicker material. And then also you're going to have behind edge thickness. Also not really that important to me, but it is something people look for. About 20 thousandths behind the edge. And then it's about 5 sheets of paper. So if you want to get that thickness for yourself to know what that is. The only thing about this one is most times, like a lot of companies are using that a really steep secondary angle to get a really thin behind the edge angle for it. So this one is over 25 degrees. So I use basically this little tool over here to measure that. There's a little laser on it. So it gives me a measurement, and it's actually a little bit off the charts. So that goes up to about 24 degrees for something like that. This one was off the chart, so that's why I said 25 degrees per side. So I'm not really too sure exactly what this edge is sharpened to, but that's a little high for most of them. I think most people with their EDC knives is about 15 degrees per side for their blade, maybe 20 degrees. 20 degrees works too, but that's kind of a preference thing as far as what you're cutting. Blade stock thickness on this is going to be a 3.54 or 0.143 for inches, and then it's going to be M390. For that steel, in comparison, actually for kind of a baseline, I guess, for Knife Steel Nerds, that's where I'm getting information from. Corrosion resistance side is about a 9 out of 10. Edge retention is about a 6.5 out of 10. So that's where it is going to be something that will be a good knife for you in multiple different uses for the use, not having to resharpen it a lot. Handle length on this one is going to be 4.26, a right hand tip up only for the clip. And then there's going to be 1 pound 4 ounces to overcome this pocket clip. So when taking it out of the pocket, use that jeans right at the beginning of the video. So it's 1 pound 4 ounces. No, the knife does not weigh 1 pound 4 ounces. I've had that comment before. It's just the maximum amount of effort to take this out of your pocket is about 1 pound using the Lyman pull gauge, so that it pulls that break. So it's going to be very short amount of time, but that's the highest amount of force you need to take it out of your pocket. Also not bad. So it worked well in and out, but it's going to be probably on the lower side of things, but it still retains fairly well. For this one, there's some things that are really good about it. As far as the lock does not have play on it. Some of the Benchmates I have do have the play. This one does not. This is also a integral. So that is one thing that is a complication to manufacturing. So that it does actually account for some of that cost you're seeing, about $279 instead of $2 or $299, $279. So if you're like, oh, why would I be paying that much for an import knife? Well, it's an integral knife, and it has that complication in how they manufacture it. It does take longer. It's one piece of carbon fiber in this instance. A lot of them are one-piece titanium, but there's a carbon fiber. It does have stainless steel sides on both sides, so you can access the springs if you need be. and that is something that is available for that. But that is why you get that premium price point for it. The thumb studs do stick out a little bit higher than the scales, as you see there. Well, not thumb studs, but thumb studs are there. The actual lock, I don't think they have a different name for it, but the Access style lock, totally available to use, no longer in patent, but that sticks out. Pretty proud of the scales, but it works pretty well. The only thing about it is it might be kind of that trade-off where there's no rock or anything, but this spring is a little bit stiffer than I would normally expect or normally like in some of the Benchmade knives or other Access style locks. Even Hogue has some good offerings out there, so that's where you kind of have to decide as far as like if this really speaks to you, if you really follow that designer as well. So some people just really collect everything that a designer makes, and this might be something that you want to pick up for that as well. But that's kind of where it's kind of on the fence for it. So buy, borrow, or avoid for me. It's more of a borrow. I almost find myself having to justify to folks as far as why it costs that much. Well, it costs that much because it's integral, because it has a longer machining time, it has possible of errors, and all this other stuff. But that's why it's more of a borrow for me. It's not one that I would say definitely pick this up. You're going to miss out if you don't buy this knife. It's something that if you like it, if it's something that you really enjoy, the design you like, it's going to be a good one. I mean, it's something that you might want to pick up for that. So that's where that's kind of the preference for those things and my opinion on it. So looking at some other sizing, so this fits in right between a Griptilian and a mini Griptilian. So that's where we're going to be having a mini grip and then a regular Griptilian. So that's kind of that mid-grade between that. So for this price point, you could probably pick up a Griptilian and then go to like Death Grip scales, get something that's customized, and you're going to be about that same price point. So I guess wager that how you will as far as what you would do for that. But I mean, most of these are, I think, about 140, 150 for a Griptilian. Not going to be in M390. So you're going to be paying for more for that. So you're going to be paying probably about $198 for something in the same type of steel, but not going to be integral. It's not going to have, it's still going to have the injection molded stuff. So it's not going to be something that you're going to get some of the more premium materials for it. But that's going to be the difference there. You do have some other ones, I guess, for some things that you might have laying around. So Bug Out, and then Rat number 2, and then you do have the other one, which is the Para 3. And that one's also going to be from, where is that from? Knives Plus. So Knives Plus had that one with that handle. And also I did do some custom dyeing of scales, so I do have that on the website if you want to pick it up for the Ryan Solaris. And then we also do have the Scorpio that's starting production, looking at about July for that one. So hopefully that one will do well. And then at least I'm getting a lot of people that are waiting for it. So they're like, well, I don't want to buy this one right now because I want to buy the other one. I still need to sell this one. Like, it would be nice to sell this one, and then we'll continue moving, continue growing, and everything else for Orion knives. So that is going to be about all those are. Let me know if I'm missing out on anything. I think the main thing I think is the thickness, now that I think about it. So thickness is something that people care about a lot too. So is it thicker than a Snicker? No, it is not thicker than a Snicker. Snicker bar is thicker than that, but you're going to have 0.476, and then you're going to have with the pocket clip 0.636, and I guess for reference, a Snicker bar is 0.73. So not thicker than a Snicker bar for the thickness, but I think that's one thing I got to add to the regular view cycle. And let me know also on the basically a tip cut angle, if that's something that's useful to you or not. But that is the Tuya knife. That is the Big Belly. So check out their website for TuyaKnifeUS.com. And that's about all I have to say about that one today.